Where you been, man? You already know how it goes. Yeah.
Realize about the grown-up life, man. I don't have as much time as I used to. Like, not even close, man. Oh man, how's the weather down in Texas right now?
75. It's mid right now.
Bro, it's like
not too cold, not too hot.
It's like 75-ish, like 80-ish, like where I'm at. And
okay.
I'm about to have like a heat attack right now, man.
Well.
Yo, what intro music you like more? You like this one more or the other one?
Oh man, you know, all of them cool to me. You know, it's kind of like a good vibe. You know, all of them got that vibe sense to it. I like it. You know, it's pretty cool. Laid back, chilling.
Man.
Hell yeah.
That's good. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the show for tonight. I'm Cowboys Beat. I'm joined by my guy, Law Nation. What's going on, bro?
Man, all is well, man. Can't complain. Just ready to get down into it, man. Talk about the steal of the draft, man. Because you got Cowboys stole the 2024 draft. So I'm just trying to see how everything's going to rock with you today.
Hey, man, the SEO is going to go crazy on this one, man. If you're with the search engine optimization, you got to put a title like this to even get noticed.
Okay, well, shoot, let's get it. Hey, I think it was all facts, though. I like what we was able to do and capitalize off of this draft, though.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, can I start off with a rant real quick? Because I got
Go ahead.
I got something that's on my chest right now that I got to get off. So, all right. This whole notion that the Cowboys are going to struggle to make the playoffs and they're a significantly worse team than they were last year because they lost Tyron Smith, who, hey, respect to Tyron Smith, he's a great player. But then they lost a few guys that nobody ever heard of, and maybe they get Stephon Gilmore back. Well, I got a question for you, right?
What's that?
If you were a GM, right, and you're asking about the roster and how a roster looks, like let's just say you're given a blind team to look at when it comes from this perspective. You're a GM and you get offered a job and you say, you don't know the team, just ask us questions about the roster. What are the first questions you're going to ask? How's the quarterback situation?
How the quarterback, yeah.
How's the quarterback situation? Well, this team has a second-team all-pro quarterback, one of the 7 best quarterbacks in football. Oh, yeah, so we're off to a pretty good start here. Okay.
Right. I'm feeling you. Yeah.
Right. What about the offensive line? We got to protect our quarterback. That's the second most important position on the field. Offensive line is pretty good. They just drafted some young guys in the draft. They have 2 all-pros on their offensive line. They have a guy who showed in 2022 that he could play at a high level, and, you know, he struggled a little bit coming off an injury. Okay. So we got an all-pro quarterback. We got some all-pros on the offensive line. How about those defensive ends? How are they looking? We got to get after the quarterback. Well,
okay.
They have one of the best defensive players in football, rushing the passer, 3-time All-Pro and 3 seasons playing in the NFL. they got some nice depth pieces at the defensive end. They have DeMarcus Lawrence, or they have a defensive end who's really good at playing the run, really good player overall. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right now with our premium positions, we're 3 for 3. What about the wide receiver position? How are we looking there?
You got Lamb. Yeah.
First team All-Pro wide receiver, 1,700 yards. He was a second team All-Pro receiver last year. They got another nice receiver there. They got a tight end, young tight end who really, showed up this year. Oh, okay. So my quarterback situation's good. My offensive line situation's good. We can rush the passer. We have receivers that can catch the football for the quarterback. What about the cornerbacks? Oh, yeah, you have 2 All-Pros there. Both of them were first-team All-Pros. So this is a pretty damn good run.
Yeah. You getting right into it, man, but I think I lost you, bro. You still there? Come on back, dog. They didn't win and sniped him, but all I can say is from a perspective, we do have the quarterback, and we do also have the mindset of a wide receiver from CeeDee Lamb. So those two things that you do have, and then can you, dare I say, figure out a way to run the ball? That was one of the Achilles heels for the Cowboys. So ultimately, I think that they're going to do running back by committee, right? And I also think that it is what it is, man. He'll getting into it, right, Rob? Yeah. My guy was getting into it, man, but it's all good, man.
Please come home.
Where you at? Cowboy B. I got beans and bologna. Y'all tell old boy to come on home, man. We got beans and bologna. But speaking of the bologna, man, we do have a big boy named Rodgers on this team. I can't wait to break down his tape fully. And what that's supposed to do is to help out the situation with Mozzie. I don't think Mozzie will be able to be here week 1, week 2 to the full capacity. So, yeah, you need help with that. On top of that, Carl Davis. Now, here's my truth with both of those things, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls that's listening. We still need to plug in the middle of that field with the back end of the free agency. I truly believe that the Cowboys would do that. On top of that, we need help, extra help with the DB sides of it. So hopefully they'll pick up the phone and call one of these veteran guys to help alleviate some of the pressure that you may see from the youth. You back, bro?
Hey, man, they didn't want me to be great, man.
Yeah, man, they want you to be great. I was like,
please come home.
I got beans and bologna for you, man. Come on.
I got beans and bologna.
What you got, bro? You back?
All right. So I'm the general manager looking at this prospective team. All right. So my quarterback situation's good. My wide receiver situation's good. Offensive line, cornerback, pass rushers, defensive end.
Right.
Okay. What about the other positions? Linebacker, safety. It's getting there. Yeah. They're fine. Their safety's good. Linebackers.
Yeah.
What about the defensive tackles? Yeah, they need a one technique and they need a running back. Those are the needs on the team. Sign me up.
Sign you up. Yeah.
Sign me up. If your biggest needs are your running back and your one technique defensive tackle, you're straight. The premium positions are the hardest positions to find. Quarterback, offensive line, cornerback, defensive end, wide receiver, and you have all pros at every position. What I'm trying to say is this. Talent was not the issue for this team in that Green Bay game. It wasn't. Nobody's going to convince me that the Green Bay Packers were a more talented football team than the Dallas Cowboys. Nobody's going to convince me of that. Nobody's even going to convince themselves of that, no matter how much they hate the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
So when we dissect it, the problem with this team last year was that they weren't disciplined enough in big spots, and I don't think that this coaching staff, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, got the most out of the talent on this football team. This team, last year, top 3 talent in the entire league. There's no reason why they should have been embarrassed like that at home. Talent is not the issue for this football team. Okay, like when people talk about, look at the roster and look at what's going on. Bro, I'm not like, obviously I'm worried about the roster. I'm more concerned with how are the pieces on this roster going to be utilized?
Right.
How are they going to be utilized? And if they're not going to be utilized in a more effective manner than they were last year, it's all for nothing.
Yeah, all for nothing, man. So you said a mouthful right there. So talent wasn't the issue; it was just the effectiveness on how they use said talent. Right? Don't put the machine gun away and then use the pocket knife. And then when it's time to use the pocket knife, don't blow it up with hand grenades. So yeah, I think that the Cowboys going into this particular season. Here's the thing, though: Mike McCarthy is on a 1-year deal or on his final contract. Dak Prescott back is against the wall. Every one of those quarterbacks is back against the wall because nobody signed for a futures contract. So it's going to be the commitment that we're going to have to see. And then on top of that, even with the running back room, I think when you went away, I said it may be a situation that this particular running back room will utilize running back by committee.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And here's the thing, like another thing that I want to bring up when it comes to this football team, they've set themselves up really well for the future. So when you look at the 2025 salary cap for the Dallas Cowboys, right now, this is including $40 million of dead cap money on Dak Prescott. Like Dak Prescott's $40 million dead cap money is already counted on the 2025 cap. The 5th-year option for Micah Parsons, the $21 million, I think it is for his 5th-year option, is already counted on the cap, right? So let's just say those numbers go up. Maybe Micah Parsons' cap hit climbs to $26-27 million in 2025. Maybe if you re-sign Dak Prescott, which I think they'll do, his cap hit number maybe goes up to $45 million. Okay, so you are at $79 million without any restructures, without any bump in the salary cap from the league. You have $79 million right there. Already, with Dak counting $40 million on the cap and Micah Parsons counting $21 million on the cap. Those are the two big contracts they have to get out of the way. They can make that happen. They're in a very good position with their salary cap in the future. They drafted 2 offensive linemen that I think we're very high on. They have young talent all across the board. Even Dak Prescott is in the prime of his career, and he's got years to go in his prime because the quarterback position ages like fine wine compared to other positions. Right. So when I look at this team, I'm not nearly as doom and gloom as everybody else. I understand why fans are upset. Like, I'm not saying they're wrong to feel like that because that Packers game hurt. It hurt. And it did. Yeah, it hurts. Yeah. It's one of those things like, tell me about a time you was put in a situation. So when you said that this particular team stole the draft, what you got for the first pick? Or you want to start with the first pick or you want to start with the last pick? It's on you. We'll start out with the first pick. To be honest with you, I loved what they did in the first round because, and here's the thing, in hindsight, I love it even more than when they did it during the night. So, like, when they initially traded away from Graham Barton, I was like, you can't do that. You can't trade away from a player like that. They traded back. They got Tyler Guyton, right? Mixed reactions on the pick. I really went in and dived into his tape. I liked the pick way more than I liked it on draft night. So you get a guy who has legit NFL left tackle traits, athleticism off the charts, beat some of the best in the draft, right? I can tell you this, Rex Ryan loves watching that man's tape. I can tell you that. Yeah.
He loved his feet. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
So you got a guy who I think is ready to come in day one, and maybe he's Tyler Smith as rookie. See, I think that what fans can expect is rookie season Tyler Smith from Tyler Guyton. And Long, let me ask you this question. How many games did the Cowboys win in 2022?
12. Yeah.
How many reps did Tyron Smith take at left tackle?
All of them, did he? Yeah, he didn't take them.
2022. That was when he got hurt.
And you're talking about Tyron. Okay, Tyron. Yeah.
Tyron Smith.
They got me mixed up with Tyler.
How many reps did he take at left tackle?
Tyler or Tyron?
Tyron.
Tyron, none.
And they still won 12 games that year.
Yeah, I'm seeing where you're going. Yeah, I'm seeing where you're going. Go ahead.
So you use the 24th overall pick essentially to get your left tackle and your center for the future. You needed to address your offensive line. You addressed your offensive line with two guys that I think day one, maybe they're not difference makers day one. Maybe they're not. But I think that day one, they're going to be able to be NFL starting caliber offensive linemen. And when you already have the pieces that you have on your offensive line with the Zach Martin and the Tyler Smith, granted, we'll have to see what happens with Terrence Steele. I feel a lot better about this offensive line coming out of this draft. What about you?
Well, let me break this down to a degree. We're going to have the football gods to be nice to us, meaning that with the first game, we can't play a dominant defensive team because it's going to take a while for this offensive line unit to get together. 5 guys got to be on the same page. So what brought that attention when you mentioned 2022, keep in mind, that offensive line was still kind of makeshift to a degree because of that. And, that first game was very brutal, meaning that you had even, I believe, when Dak Prescott broke his thumb, it was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let me know if I'm correct, right? Yeah, right. We were set up for failure. And we couldn't get no push off the offensive line. Dak had to run for his life. And on top of that, pressure was getting into the face. And I believe even on that rep, we had Tony Pollard in that game. Not saying that Dak Prescott broke his thumb because of Tony Pollard, but it was because he couldn't pick up that interior blitz that came through the line there, and they were pushing everything back from Tyler Biadasz. And that's when he went to throw the ball, and he had the dead thumb there. So we're going to need a little grace, a little mercy from the football gods to be able to let us at least start off with maybe one of those subpar defensive teams so that this front five can get together. And I think that Tyler Guyton, with the skill set that he have, like you said, with his feet, would be really good. Botch Lombardi brought this up the other day when I was listening to his live. He said one of the pivotal moments of this particular team would be who would be your tight end to step in to also be hooked to that left side to help alleviate things. And plus with Ezekiel Elliott, now you got Zeke because he's a good blocker, right? And then if you have that left tackle, Tyler Guyton, with some of those worries, you can always slide a tight end on that side like a schoolmaker, and that could help alleviate some things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when it comes to the tackle position, you can work around that more than any position on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, look, one thing that I loved what the Cowboys did with this draft is they took the offensive line seriously. They tripled down in this draft. And, look, there's a lot of people that are very high on that guy that the Cowboys drafted later in the draft. So when you look at this offensive line, there's so much young player. There's so many young players on this offensive line. You have, Guyton, Awesome Richards. We'll see what Awesome Richards turns into.
Right.
Tyler Smith, TJ Bass, the Thomas kid that they just drafted. They have a lot of young pieces going into the future. Now, are all these guys going to be starters? No, they're not, because there's only 5 spots on the offensive line. But when you look at it, it's never a bad thing having good depth, young depth, because when they're young, they're usually cheap, which is always a great thing in my
Yeah, young and cheap, yeah.
and another thing is, right, when it comes to this draft, I loved what the Cowboys did when it came to, we're going to stick to our board. We're not going to address our board. We're in the first round, they took Guyton. Second round, they took Marshawn Nealon. That was a guy that Dane Brugler had high on his big board. I think 31 or 32 overall. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit if the Cowboys, that was like a blinking red light for them. They're like, we got to take this guy. Like premium position, potential DeMarcus Lawrence replacement. I think that, look, if you're drafting an edge that you think could be a player in the second round, take him. That's a premium position.
Yeah, what makes it so premium is this right here, the ability to stop the run. I've read somewhere where he was the best edge rusher on stopping the run in the draft, and not just for this year, but for the last 2 years, So I know he's from a smaller school, but sometimes those things can translate. And if Dane Brugler is pointing those things out on his tape, there are more and more people are finding things out that this kid brings to the table. He's not no 230-pound guy. He's 275-pound guy, or 60-pound. He's 65 pounds. So he's a big, strong, burly type of edge rusher that I think that is going to help this team out tremendously, because one of the issues that we had in that Green Bay game, what was it? Come on, where my guy at? This is one of my issues that we had in this game.
Get your up there, contain the damn ball. This is why we do it.
We had issues on containment, right, and getting to the edge, man, and we need people that can be that reckless person on the edge, not reckless abandonment, but reckless into a point whereas they can win and they can also contain.
Hey, and here's the thing though, right? Like, one thing that I do give the Cowboys a lot of credit for is
right.
They're, stopping the run has been an issue for them for years now.
Right.
They've been trying to address it. Like, I truly believe they've been trying to address it. Like, in last year's draft, they took a one technique with their number 1 overall pick, with the first round pick last year.
Right.
That says a lot to me, and they're trying to help this out. Like, they're trying to solve this issue.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted Overshown last year. Unfortunately, he got injured. They had some injuries with the linebackers, so they got a little bit of a tough break there. This year, I think I think that it'll be better, because here's the thing, right? I'm not as stressed out as everybody when it comes to this one technique defensive tackle. I'm just not. Like, right now, if you lined up, do I have questions? Absolutely.
Right.
But I hate to take this from Stephen Jones, but just because it's somebody that a lot of people don't like doesn't mean the quote's not true. Well, talent acquisitions, 365 days a year.
He sounds just like him.
I hate it, but it's true. Like, I hate hearing him say that, but it's true. This roster's not complete yet. I think what people forget is everybody loved Jonathan Hankins. Jonathan Hankins was a nice player for this team.
Yeah.
What did you trade to go get him?
A 5th or 6th or something. 5th, yeah.
A 6th round. I think it
5th
was
or
a
6th.
round.
Yeah.
It was like a 6th round pick, and in return, you got a 7th round pick for this draft. So it's not a position where you look at it. It's like, it is very hard to find a guy like this. Like, no, you can find a one technique defensive tackle that can help you stop the run.
No doubt. I was just going to say that, even a trash can gets a steak. So, yeah, Stephen Jones may be right on that particular aspect. Yeah, talent evaluation is 365. And excuse me, everybody that's watching, it's May right now. It's May the 1st. So we got a long way to go. And there's 90 there's 90 players on the team, right? So there's going to be cuts. People going to have to trim the fat off of their team, and guarantee you those who drafted guys who they felt as if though they can be saviors to their particular team, they're going to be some hard cuts. And if we got to just do our Birdman rubbing of the hands here, because if we can just identify the trueness of where we got our weak spots at, it can be cleared up just like that by getting another one tech, by getting a veteran defensive back that can help this team out. So the offseason is long. That's all I wanted to say.
I don't want to get people's hopes up, because I don't think this will happen, because they did draft Mozzie with the 1st round pick.
Right.
Kenny Clark might not be on the Packers next year, because he's going to count. If they cut him, they're going to save $17 million.
Right.
Kenny Clark's only 28 years old. I have no idea how. It felt like he's been in the league since I've been in high school.
Right.
I'm 27 and he's 28 years old. Like, we are 1 year apart. It's crazy to me that he's only 28. But if that guy becomes available, I want parts with that, man. I want parts with that. You add that guy to this defensive line, I feel really damn good about that. I don't think it'll happen, because they did draft Mozzie Smith, and I think they want to see it out with him. But we'll see there. Here's my thing, right? Like, I'm not giving up on Mozzie Smith right now.
Right.
I do think that, like, when you hear Like when you hear what they wanted to do with Mozzie Smith his rookie year, that's the equivalent of telling Jalen Carter, hey, go play one technique and just try and stop the run.
Nah, ain't gonna happen.
Like just do that. Like don't do the stuff that you're good at. Do this specific thing. And I think that in Mike Zimmer's system, he'll be a lot better because I mean Mike Zimmer, like if he didn't feel like Mozzie Smith was good enough, he would have been standing on the table to maybe like a re-sign Hankins or go and get another one technique. But I think that he believes in Mozzie Smith. I think that he can turn this player around.
I think that, by name alone, what really propelled this team to win this offseason would be the coaching staff, that Zim is bringing along. Greg Ellis. We talk about Paul Gunter. We talk about Coach Z or Coach Jeff Z, for those who don't know. When you bring in all of those things together, it's a whole lot better than what we had out of the other coaches that was here. So hopefully, man, we get these guys. There'll be some mindsets that's changing. There will be some accountability that will be on the table. And I'm quite sure even with the Mozzie thing, you don't have to rush that now because Paul Gunter and Coach Greg Ellis going to get the best out of their guys.
Yeah, and so like when we talk about the third round pick, we start off with 73. I want everybody to understand this. Dallas won that trade with the Detroit Lions. Like they got Detroit to overpay for that. Yeah. I'll give them credit there, right? We want to win the deal. We want to win the deal here now, Jerry, okay? They won the deal there. Like they did like a 73 overall. I understand they gave away a 7th round pick. That's fine. You got another top 75 pick. And with that, you got one of the most pro-ready interior offensive linemen in this entire draft. And, to me, Cooper Beebe, he is the type of offensive lineman that I want on my interior. He moves people. He puts people in the ground. And this is not just like his tape isn't against like Houston Christian,
Academy, yeah.
It's not one of those type of things. He's putting Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy in the dirt.
Yeah. Like I mean, that dude's good. That dude's good. And when you look at I'm about to say Christian Beebe, but if you look at Cooper Beebe, you will see that, he absolutely dominates when he gets the upper hands on people, man. He got low center of gravity. He's built like a trunk. And to me, that's my favorite pick because I can see the nastiness that we need. You're not going to just push him around. It's all nastiness with him. And even if y'all look back at old highlights from a year or such when Tiny Deuce Vaughn was running, you see BB in front of him. So guess what? We got Deuce here still, right? And now you have BB. Maybe you'll see Deuce find a hole, see hole, run behind that big plug right there, and we can get some things going.
Yeah. Oh man, look, I'm such a fan of the pick, and I love the process of acquiring Cooper Beebe. Right.
Right.
One of the more, I think this was the most mature draft that Dallas has had in a very long time. I really do, right?
Yeah.
Like this offensive line is now set up for the next 10 years. Obviously you're going to have to find a replacement for Zach Martin.
Yeah.
Unless Zach Martin wants to be on like that Tom Brady time where he's playing until his mid-40s. But I don't think he wants to do that. Terrence Steele, that might be something that we need to address, but I believe in Terrence Steele. I think that Terrence is going to bounce back in a big way this year.
Yeah.
And man, look, like again, I love what this does for this team in the present day, and I don't think people understand that. Like, you addressed your offensive line, like you're good. Next year, we're not talking about offensive line in the first round.
Yeah.
We're probably not talking about that. We could probably talk about receiver or running back or one of these other fun positions that people wanted to address this year because you ate your what is it? Your vegetables. You ate your green beans this year.
Yeah.
Now you can have your cake next year. Now you can go get your receiver. Now you can go get your running back. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm not going to be on Twitter putting out 2025 mock drafts. Like some people do.
Yeah. Here we talk all about this, but we also got a big Nate on this team. Again, a big Nate Thomas, man. I think that with people, y'all go back and look at his tape. He's athletic. He got good feet. He just gonna have to work on his hands and keep his anchored slower, keep anchored lower. But I think that he's gonna be a guy that a lot of people gonna say, hey, look at that, what the Cowboys were able to do with Nate. Because here's the thing. As long as we don't get a chance to see Josh Ball, Matt Walesko, and as well as Chuma Edoga, it's a plus for us, baby. Come on with it, man. Come on. We got Big Nate and Little Nate, too. I see you in the chat. Yeah, let's go. Come on.
Please come home.
What we tell him, baby?
Hey,
I
Josh
got
Ball.
beans and bologna.
Hey, let me get
That
him
was
that.
good.
Hey, Josh Ball, Matt, let's go.
Fat, slovenly, no. Come on.
Hey, one thing that I want to add to this.
Mm-hmm.
Duke Manyweather came out when Nathan Thomas got selected, and he was very high on that pick for Dallas.
Right.
And, Duke Manyweather is a guy that he's not going to come out and be hypercritical of his guys, but when he really likes a guy, he'll let you know he really likes a guy.
Oh, yeah. And he was critical a little bit of Tyler Guyton. So, hey, they're going to have to run him his check. They was like, how much is it going to cost you to work on Guyton? And he was like, okay, it'll be $500K or more, and they're like, okay. So, we need to put up a money committee, man, to go pay that man to go work out with Tyler Guyton. But I'm quite sure he will. And more times that we look at Tyler Guyton, I think Tyler Smith is going to say, hey, let's go over here to Duke, man, and let's work this out together. Because everybody already works with Duke. BB already works with Duke. Hey, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele, all four of the other guys work with Duke. So, hey, come on now. Come on, Tyler Guyton. I think that that's going to be we're going to call this offensive line the Duke line.
Hey, I like that, man. He does great work, man. He really does. So, like, man, if that's the case, if we see, because he has traits, like Tyler Guyton has legit traits.
Yeah.
And if you have the right coaches around that guy, I like his attitude. You want to know what he said on 105.3 The Fan?
What he say? What he say?
They asked him, what do you think was missing in that Green Bay game for the Cowboys? And you want to know what he said?
What he say?
Tyler Guyton.
Oh, I love that one, baby.
Please come
Let's go, baby. Come on, baby.
They were missing Tyler Guyton, man. I like that. I like that a lot. Which, I mean, look, the guy who's playing his position now is pretty damn good. So, I mean, like,
Yeah, Tyron Smith.
At
the time.
I love the mentality. I mean, look, one thing that I really like, it seems like, they drafted a bunch of really high character guys. You hear how like Marcus Freeman talks about Maurice Levy, and man,
how you say it? Say it again.
Maurice Levy.
Maurice, man. Maurice. I'm gonna call Maurice, and I'll be messing it. Is it Morris? I don't know, but I'm gonna say this though before the comment slipped my mind. They said 500,000 or more. That's a lot of money. Think about it. How much did Terrence Steele get paid? About 85, 90 million, something like that, guaranteed? I would gladly pay $500K for to get $85 million. So, hey, Tyler Guyton, man, go ahead and pay that man Duke, because Duke gonna get you paid, man. But keep going.
Oh yeah, I think that'll eventually happen. It'd be crazy if the only person on the offensive line not working with him is Tyler Guyton. He'll get with him. And we talk about the rest of this draft, right? Mm-hmm. Maurice Levy.
Okay.
There were a lot of people not a lot of people. There were some people critical about the pick. I think this guy was way higher on the Cowboys draft board than the media draft board. Like. You see Jerry when they drafted Maurice Levy, he was, man.
Oh,
look, I don't think he's been that happy since the last time he didn't end up with another child. The last time he passed the paternity test,
Damn act together.
You see him? He talked to him. Oh well, I'm very happy to see you in that silver and blue, and then he passed the phone to everybody else. He took that phone back. oh, you're gonna look so good with that star on your helmet. And he was excited that he was there, and you hear play contain the damn ball.
Yeah. I got you right here, you know. but here's my thing.
Get your ass up there, contain the damn ball.
Here's what I like about his style. If you're gonna play bad at 100% of the way. Like I don't like those tackles that people be trying to make business decisions on, right? When they got to think twice or what have you. Nah, if you're gonna go to that doggone edge and run and hit somebody, hit them. If you're gonna shoot through a gap and hit somebody, hit them. And that's one thing we can all say about Mike Zim type of linebackers. Eric Kendricks was exactly the same way. You know, you'd be like, hey man, I think about two of those guys with hair coming out of the back of the helmet. You know, now it's definitely gonna be two of those boys with hair coming out of the back of the helmet, man. So I think that another good thing that he brings to the table is his coverage ability, and that's one of the things that people don't bring up, man.
Hey, and here's the thing, right? You know, for the past few years here, I myself, along with I think a lot of people within the fan base, has had a problem with the way the linebackers have played, not just like performance, but just their style of play, where they're more, you know, read, react, wait for the action to come to them. These linebackers you have right now, Leofau and Kendricks and Overshown, these dudes are not waiting for the action to come to them. They're getting downhill and they're looking, they want to take somebody's head off.
Right.
You know, so I appreciate where they decided to go with this pick. And, you know, I talked about it last week with Foots and Okoye. My thing is with this draft, when it came to the linebacker position, I want to get out of this draft with a Mike linebacker.
With a Mike,
this guy is a Mike linebacker because you have weak side linebackers. Overshown's a weak side guy. I think Damone Clark playing his natural position, which is weak side linebacker, I think he'll have a better season this year. I think, you know, with Eric Kendricks being the Mike this year, you're going to have to find a guy to be a Mike for the next, you know, however many years here. And what a great time to draft this guy when you have a guy like Eric Kendricks. You hope that Mike Zimmer is the defensive coordinator for a long time to come here. And if that's the case, you have Eric Kendricks, one of the headiest players that Mike Zimmer has probably ever had, teaching this kid how to play the position at the NFL level, teaching this kid the defense. Yeah. So to me, I understand. We all wanted a running back in that spot.
Yeah, we all wanted,
They got a linebacker who might be able to be here for the next 8, 9, 10 years. And at that point, man, like I'd rather have that than a running back. Like I'd just rather have, like, a running back might not get to their second contract with the team. So, you know, I understand why people are frustrated with them not getting the running back, but I like the Leofau pick.
Yeah. It's just like this. The offensive line is the beans, you know, and the running back will be the rice, right? So we got the beans, we got the most substance parts of it, right? The rice is just to extend, to make sure that all of the nutrients can be sustainable. So what we did was we looked back at this particular draft and said, okay, let's make sure we get the meat, pause if necessary, and the beans. And everything else would be fillers. So that's what they did, and they didn't try to go after that running back because in their minds they already had their thoughts that they was going to bring back Ezekiel, Elijah Elliott anyhow. So and we had that news way before the draft even hit that he was going to be back into the fold. It just, we couldn't say anything until it was official. So I would say this though, the Dallas Cowboys with what they got, don't be surprised if we can just be that team. If when necessary, when you need 5 yards, we can get it. When you want 5 yards, you can get it. And everything else is what I'm saying is that what we couldn't do last year. When we needed 5, we couldn't get it. And when we wanted 5, we couldn't get it. But damn it, now we can get it.
Hey, here's my thing when it comes to the running back position. You know, if you're not getting better blocking up front from your offensive line and your coach isn't doing a better job scheming things up with the run game, you could have got Derrick Henry in here. And to me, I mean, it would have improved the situation, but I
Yeah.
don't think it would have been as great as people would have thought it would be. To me, look, I think Ezekiel Elliott is a capable running back. I think
Right.
they have capable running backs in this room. If the scheme gets better and the blocking on the offensive line gets better, then I think they'll be able to run the football effectively. Like,
Hell yeah.
I want people to understand this. When you have a quarterback like Dak Prescott, who every defensive coordinator in the league respects Dak Prescott and how he can manipulate defenses and really light you up if you don't take this guy seriously.
Right.
You're not going to see loaded boxes anymore with Dak Prescott. I want them to play loaded boxes. Try and play a loaded box.
Oh, no.
The
Just stop there.
boxes that Jalen Hurts got. Let me get a little nasty here. In the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, where he had one-on-ones across the board, I want those type of boxes
Yeah,
for my quarterback. But that ain't gonna happen. But I think Ezekiel Elliott's capable, and I don't think you need some otherworldly running back to have an effective run game. If your scheme's good and you block it up well,
Right. It's all about schemes, and then it's all about your draft board. You can't be watching what the neighbors do. You got to stay true to your draft board because, I saw someone say, hey, man, the Niners got one of the best running backs in the league and got one of the better running games in the league, but they still went and drafted a running back. Well, that's the Niners, right? They ain't finna keep CMC forever. They're not finna keep Elijah Mitchell forever. We don't know their plans, but we do know what the Cowboys tend to try to do with theirs. And different structures as far as teams is always prevalent here versus any other team. And no other team gonna have the owner and his son talking 3 or 4 times a week. So that's other caveat that you got here juxtaposed to elsewhere.
hey, I want you to read this comment. This is such a great comment, bro.
It says holes make running backs. running backs don't make holes.
No, I see.
I get what he said. Yeah.
Holes make a lot of other things too. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna just leave that comment there. No,
Yeah.
but that's a great point you make, though. Great point that you make.
Yeah.
Look, when it comes to, this football team, I want everybody to understand. Running back, one technique, defensive tackle. The biggest needs on this team, every general manager would tell you, if they needed, if that was their biggest problem with their roster going into the season, they'd be ecstatic about that. Look across the NFC, right? San Francisco has a question. They might not say it in public. They got questions about their quarterback, right? Receivers are pretty good. They got some questions on their offensive line. They got some questions, in their secondary. Their secondary is pretty solid, right? When you look at their premium positions, they're pretty solid there. They have some question marks. When you look at Philly, they got a question mark at quarterback, and I don't care what anybody says. You don't go out and get all that damn talent if you're confident in your quarterback. You say, okay, we're not going to keep 2 $25+ million receivers and go get a running back and invest all this in the offensive line. We're not going to do that if we have Josh Allen. We don't need to. We're going to take that money that we spend on the offensive side of the football and spend that on the defensive side of the football. They have questions at big-time positions as well. So, when it comes to when you compare Dallas to the other teams in the NFC, they're still one of the best teams. They're still one of the 3 best teams in the NFC, in my personal opinion. They're going to win 12 games this year, and they're going to be in a spot to where they could potentially contend. They just have to play better in the playoffs. That's my biggest question about this team. They just need, if they play better in the playoffs, nobody's going to have any criticism about this team. They're not, because they win a ton of regular season games. And once they finally answer that question for people, they get to the conference championship, they get to a Super Bowl. Then people will start to take this team seriously. That's all they have to do.
Yeah. I would say this though, the Niners, they are one of the gold standards of this NFC, right? And then you will have to say, okay, the Eagles, what they do is they do a lot of acquisitions, right? And they pay their players early, and so that they at least resolve those things. But it's clear that they have reservations in their DB room. They got 2 young DBs that I know for sure they're going to have their hands full dealing with even with the Washington Scary Terry, dealing with CeeDee Lamb, dealing with Malik Neighbors if he comes around and do something for the Giants. So they're going to have to make sure they shore up that DB room because they are ranked 27 or 28 in DBs play or yards allowed and stuff like that. But Vic Fangio's supposed to be able to put a Band-Aid over that. But we will see, though. We will see what the Cowboys are going to be able to do. People talk about Vic Fangio like Dak Prescott. Of course, we know we go all the way back to that Denver's game. But Dak been carving up Vic Fangio's defense, though. You know, it's not like he can't carve them up. You give him time and opportunity and space, shoo, it's going to be some good cooking for us.
Hey, and that's the thing. Like, again, Law, you and I can sit up here and tell everybody, like, hey, look, the sky's not falling for this football team. They have all pros at premium positions. They have all pros all across the board. They're still a really damn good football team. It's not going to translate to people because everything is now heightened with this football team. People are traumatized from that game. And again, you know, I get it. But, you know, that trauma that people are feeling, you know, some of the opinions that come from the trauma are just not consistent with reality. Right. The reality of the football team. It's just not. And, like, look, I don't think two things. I don't think the Cowboys get enough credit for being they're a younger football team. Like, when you look at some of their best players, Mike is a young player. CeeDee is a young player.
True.
Howard Smith's a young player. Trayvon Diggs, Duron Bland, these guys are young players. They're still figuring this thing out. And, man, look, if we keep them under contract, we keep going at it. Things are going to break the right way for this football team. I really do believe that.
Yeah, man, it definitely will, man. You know, when we look back at everything, we don't have a preseason problem or regular season problem. We just have a postseason problem. So we won't be able to tell until the postseason get here, but we will be able to do indicators. When I said this earlier, I hope that somebody got what I said. When we wanted 5 or needed 5 yards, we couldn't get it. This year, I'll be paying attention. When we want 5 or need 5, can we get that on the ground? Can we get that first down? Can we methodically move the ball down the field? Those are the things that I'll be looking for. And on the flip side, when it's time for us to stop the run, when it's time for us to put pressure on the opposing team in those fashions, I'm not looking for the INT. I'm going to be staring, looking at this team and seeing, can they stop the effing run, right? And that's what I'm going to be looking for. I don't give a dog if we got our backs against the wall, we up against the ropes, and then somebody pick it off. That is not transferable in the playoffs. Nope. What's transferable is, can we stop the run and can we run the ball? Those are the two things I'm looking for. Everything else, man, I don't really care about it. I don't care about Dak throwing for 300 yards or 400 yards. I don't care about us getting 2 or 3 INTs in the game. But I care about what I just said earlier. Can we stop the run and can we run the ball?
Absolutely. You hit it right on the head there, right? And, I mean, look, that's the thing with this football team, right? And that's why I'm kind of happy that, you know, we're with Mike Zimmer now. I think Mike Zimmer is going to have these guys playing disciplined football. What did he say? I hate mistakes.
Get your ass up there, contain the damn ball. This is why we do it.
This is why we do it.
Too many missed tackles.
Missed tackles.
We're too damn soft. I just hate mistakes.
You hate mistakes, man. Yeah.
You know what? His teams with the Minnesota Vikings, every year they were bottom 10 in a good way.
Yeah.
In penalties.
Yeah.
Like, I think, look, with this defense, how many times, Law, let me bring this up. I think this team last year should have went 14-3. Think about it. They should have beat Miami. They should have beat Miami.
Okay.
If Tony Pollard scores that touchdown, because I'm not going to relieve I didn't even do it when he was here. Yeah. Tony Pollard was the reason why they didn't score a touchdown on that first drive that would have won them the game. And then Damone Clark with the face mask on that last drive pretty much gifted them the game there, right? They should have beat Philly as well in Philly. You win those games, guess what? You win 14 games that year.
Yeah. You would have swept the Eagles. And when you get that close inside, right? Like I say, can you get 5 when you want 5 and need 5? Can you get 5, right? And on top of that, can you stop the run? When you get that doggone close inside, bull sugar, all the rest, you need to score. And I think that we had like 3 or 4. We had 3 red zone trips, even with the I want to say the Cardinals, right? And we couldn't punch it in when we was inside the 20. So that means mentality. That's the little things I'll be looking for. I'm looking for, can we convert?
And here's the thing. Somebody's saying we should have lost the Lions game. Okay. CeeDee Lamb had the fumble in the end zone. That takes away a big drive from them.
Yeah.
And that tripping call was BS. They would have gotten the ball. I think it would have been 2nd and 2 or something like that. If they convert, the game's over. I do not subscribe to that notion that they should have lost that Lions game. I think any Lions fan that thought that they should have won that game because of the 2-point conversion, I think that's ridiculous. They're not taking in the full context of the game. That was a game the Cowboys should have won. They deserved to win, and they won that football game. But what I'm saying is, with those, if they win those 2 games, they're 14-3. They get the bye. They don't have to play Green Bay in the first round. San Francisco deals with them. And then guess what happens? You get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the divisional round. That's a much better matchup at home than the Green Bay Packers would have been. And again, if people want to say I'm being delusional, I mean, Law, am I off on this one? They should have won those 2 games.
They should have. And the Detroit game, the way we won, it should have been even more. We should have won by double digits, right? And they could have used that morale and confidence. I mean, you know, that fumble that CD had, and then, of course, like you said, that tripping and what have you, we should have at least won that game by 10 points, right? Or more. It could have been 17 if you really go back and look at that game. And now you could walk around saying that, okay, that was a game and a performance that you were able to dominate. But the Cowboys against, and this is the thing that I've been having issues with this team. Signature wins in the regular season against a formidable opponent, right? Like, we need to go in there, and I'm not saying that we only beat bad teams, because that's what the 3-letter, the 4-letter networks try to put out there, but we need signature wins, like dominant fashion, whereas you tried your best to stop the run and you couldn't stop the run. You tried your best to run the ball and you was able to run the ball. That type of stuff that we need. We already seen the quarterback being able to give you all pro numbers. I just need for someone else to step up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that's my thing, right? Like, when people talk about what's the thing that can buy you into this team,
buy you in, yeah.
Like, I think that a lot of fans are going to have a lot of questions during the regular season. Oh, great, we won. What are you going to do during the playoffs? And I understand, again, those are warranted. And I'm going to have those same questions as well.
Right,
you
right.
You want to know what will sell me on this football team in the regular season?
Mm-hmm.
If they go into a Philadelphia and they punch them in the mouth, like dominate them. Like, maybe they don't win by 20 points. Maybe they win by a touchdown or 10 points. But you can tell the entire game who the better team was.
Yeah.
You go and you win a big game in a big spot, and you're the more physically dominant team.
Yeah.
You win the game, not from, hey, we got lucky on turnovers. No, we won the game because we played fundamentally sound football and we dominated the other team at the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
That's what will sell me on this football team next year, even in the regular season, to where I feel confident, hey, no, we can go and we can win a damn Super Bowl if I see these particular things during the regular season. But if it's the same thing where it's, get a bunch of interceptions and you get a bunch of fumbles and you get a lot of luck going your way, then to me, I'm not.
I'm not going to be sold. And I'll take we call them sloppy wins, an ugly win. I'll take the ugly win, but it better not be under some foolish stuff, like I want clean, hard wins, or clean. Even if we do lose, it'll be like, damn, we only lost because of this, not because of somebody doing some crazy play calling or somebody, fumbling inside their own end zone. Undisciplined team. I just can't deal it. Y'all can't deal with that. Penalties and stuff like that. We need to play grit football, and we need to bring that back to the table.
Because here's the thing, right? My big problem with this football team over the last 3 seasons is they lose the same way they always lose. They lose because they can't stop the run, and there's penalties in big spots. That San Francisco game in 2022, how many? I mean, I remember there was a time it was 3rd and 4. Dak converted the first down.
Yeah.
It was. I think there was like a holding on the call or something like that, and it got pushed back another 10 yards, and there was like a false start or something along those lines. It was,
I remember.
Something where they had 2. It's just like you're not going to win football games even in the regular season playing like that, and it was just so infuriating. It's like how many times where it's like, all right, crucial spot, we need to stop here. San Francisco, Ron Kirsch jumps off sides. Well, that's just a boneheaded play.
Stuff like that. We can't have that. We can't have that no more.
Like it's in Buffalo, roughing the passer. You can't have that.
Can't have that.
You just can't have. It's not even the penalty count in some of these games. Obviously, you don't want a high penalty count, but like there would be games where they would have 5 penalties and you'd be like, oh, well, they didn't commit that many penalties. But it's like, no, the penalties that they did commit, they committed them in big spots. And that was a real pain in the behind, right? Like if it's a 1st and 10 and it's like a 10-yard penalty, just throw any penalty out there and they get a first down. All right, I can live with that, right? They get to the 35-yard line. All right, I'm cool. I can live with that. But when it's a 3rd and 5 and we can get them off the field and you commit a penalty, and it happened so many damn times this year. And it was really aggravating.
And just to put this out there, even for Dak Prescott, right? When he's pressing or what have you, I shouldn't have to worry about Prescott pressing now. Granted, we don't have that explosive running back that can do crazy things for us. We don't know because we haven't seen it yet. But I don't want to see Dak Prescott doing what he did in that Green Bay's game. I'm talking about the first INT, the one that he threw to Brandon.
Alexander.
I can to a degree live a little bit with that one, because that was just a damn good play, right? But the pick sixes of him going outside of his character and I know somebody will say, oh, no, that's his character in the postseason. No, I'm talking about forcing it to a receiver who's bagging to want the ball. No, stick to the strip. We're going to run the ball to open up the pass. I'm going to make sure that when I throw the ball, I know for sure that it's going to be this, not just me forcing it there, in these type of moments, because I don't want momentum swing. So those are the things that I'm going to be looking at Dak through the regular season as well. When it's time, when the pressure is on, and when it's necessary, can he absolutely get us out of the hole? And it's not the situation that we've seen in the last few years as it relates to what Green Bay did to us, as it relates to what the 49ers did to us. I no longer want to see that. I want to see a well-balanced team. I want to be able to see us being able to set the run and also stop the run and bring back play action passes to get things going.
And here's the thing, right? When it, I know it's been a regurgitated, talking throughout the postseason, but like when we talk about Dak Prescott, people can have their opinions on him all they want. When Aaron Rodgers, who's one of the most cerebral, best quarterbacks that has ever played the game, Peyton Manning, who's one of the most cerebral, best quarterbacks that have ever played the game, Joe Burrow, who is one of the most cerebral quarterbacks in the game today, when they go out of their way to talk about how well Dak plays the position, I'm sorry if I hold their opinion in more weight than I hold some random dude on Twitter named Tom on Twitter telling me that Dak's not a good quarterback, right? Like, I'm sorry if I hold, if I respect Joe Burrow and Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers' opinions more than some dude named Tom on Twitter that ducked one of the Cowboys content creators, but we'll talk about that another time.
Right. And shout out to Tom too. But here's my thing though. And I want people to understand what I said, right? When you look at what John Elway was able to do, when they say, well, hey man, you putting all of that pressure only on one, it wasn't only on John Elway. He had a stout defense. He had TD back there in the back, so he was able to get those things being alleviated. You didn't have to have John Elway to do everything. So hopefully when we go into this season, not saying that we're going to be the Broncos of the old or what have you, but what I'm saying is if we are averaging 5 and 6 yards on the ground, there's no need to force no passing now. There's no need to do anything for forcing something when we got a good thing going. That's all I'm saying. And hopefully we'll be able to get to that grace and mercy because we're supposed to have running back by committee. Look.
Hey, and I'm seeing in the comment section, Brock Purdy looks like a 5-year vet in the playoffs. If Doc had Kyle Shanahan, and Christian McCaffrey and that supporting cast, he would win a Super Bowl with that supporting cast.
Right.
If you ask Kyle Shanahan right now, who would you rather have, Dak or Brock Purdy? He would take Dak, and he'd give up a first-round pick along with Brock Purdy to go get. It's not necessarily close between those two quarterbacks when it comes to skill set. It's just not.
Yeah, you're talking about systems. Systems.
He doesn't get rattled. I don't look. Here's the thing, right? In that Green Bay game, there was a third down. Dak put the ball on CeeDee Lamb. He dropped it. Right? They were down 7-0 when that happened.
Right.
Green Bay goes back. Like that's not Dak's fault that they didn't convert on that first down. He put
break it
the ball
down
where it needed to be.
It needed to be. Yeah.
And then Green Bay goes back, and they score another touchdown. It's now 14-0. Dak starts pressing. I don't like when Dak presses. Hell, as a matter of fact, I don't like when any quarterback.
Presses. Any
quarterback presses when they feel like Dak isn't. Now they're. I don't think that they're that different in it, but they are different in a way. Like Josh Allen's the same way. So when Josh Allen is in a big spot and he's got to press, he looks for the 14-point play as well. Is anybody going to sit here and tell me that Josh Allen isn't a damn good quarterback that you would pay a ton of money to? Right. Yeah. And okay, Josh Allen got to an AFC championship game like 4 years ago where they got blown out by the Kansas City Chiefs. He's not winning all these games in the postseason either. He's winning. Yeah. He's getting past the first round, which I give him credit for. That's further than, Dak's getting in a lot of years. But I would also say this, like to the people who tell me Dak plays poorly in the divisional round, they've been in the divisional round 3 times, and Dak Prescott's played good in 2 of those 3 games. Like I'll continue to say this. He was the best player on the team when they played the Los Angeles Rams. Like on that night, he was the best player on the team. I mean, he didn't play. He played fine that game. That was a divisional round game. He did enough to win the game. When your defense is giving up 270 yards on the ground, when Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh are, gain real estate in your backfield, it's tough. That's why I try to preach to people, like, it's a team thing. It's not just the quarterback, quarterback, you got to win or else. And one thing that I would like to add, I'm sorry that I'm long-winded.
No, you're good.
When you look at the quarter, like everybody talks about what Dak hasn't done. Why don't we talk about what he has done? When you look at the quarterback that he was in 2016, I didn't during that season, I wanted Romo back in the lineup because I just felt like Romo was a better quarterback at that point. I think a lot of people really in that season overrated Dak Prescott as just a pure quarterback. But guess what? He got better and he got better and he got better. He got better at playing the position. If you look at the type of passer that Dak Prescott was his rookie season and you compare that to where he is now, night and day. And the Dak that we know now, who is one of the most cerebral quarterbacks in football, he's never had that Ezekiel Elliott from Zeke's rookie season. He never had that guy. When Zeke was in his prime and that offensive line was moving people, Dak wasn't in his prime. Dak wasn't the Dak Prescott we know right now. Right. So if you gave him Ezekiel Elliott right now with that offensive line, I'm telling you, they're winning in the playoffs. They're getting to a Super Bowl with that. But when you look at the first 4 years of Dak's career, he got better and he got better and he got better, but he wasn't where he was as a passer. I think he was a little bit overrated in the first part of his career. But guess what? He was a 4th-round rookie, and he got better. And, again, continued to get better, continued to pick up more things playing the quarterback position.
Well, when we say this, man, does this account for everything? What do Josh Allen needs in order to win a playoff game?
He needs a team.
What do Aaron Rodgers need? You know,
Team. Hey,
he needs a team. You know, Aaron
Hey.
Rodgers, one of the better throwers of the ball, right? You know,
Hey.
he still needs a team. Yeah.
can I ask you this question?
Go ahead.
People told me that game in 2022 when, you know, they lost and the team committed 14 penalties. They told me that Dak Prescott choked in that game. That's what I was told.
Right.
Why does nobody talk about the fact that that San Francisco team went into Green Bay the next week and Aaron Rodgers played like garbage?
Yeah.
Played
Yeah.
like garbage.
Yeah.
And they were the number 1 seed that year. Dak played better against the 49ers in 2022 than Aaron Rodgers did.
Yeah. He had a higher QBR. Yeah, and everything. And then Aaron Rodgers had weapons. You know, he had Aaron Jones. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my God. He had weapons. He had the wide receiver. So, I mean, and then they had a good defense, but they couldn't pull one out against the 49ers in their own crib. So, it goes to show you that, you know, I guess biasness is going to always be that because, you know, with the star on the side of the helmet, silver and blue. And I guess that one ring that Aaron Rodgers won about 14 years ago still is relevant, right? So that's just how that goes, man. And just even with Josh Allen, you know, name me the team that he beat in the playoffs.
Hey, he beat when he got to the AFC Championship game, I think the defense let up 3 points in one of the playoff games.
Yeah.
And they only scored 17 points in the game. I think it was like 17-3 versus the Houston Texans or something like that.
Yeah. I'm looking at his resume right here. He beat the Colts in 2021, right? He beat the Baltimore Ravens in that AFC divisional game, right?
Lamar was awful.
He was awful in that game, so there's more an indictment on Lamar, and that's it, man. He played what's the dude name in New England? What's that dude name? Mac Jones. Who? Mac Jones.
That was the equivalent to me. That was the equivalent to Dak's game versus the Bucks.
Right, and he gets a pass for that, and then they beat Skylar Thompson, man, who played for the Miami Dolphins because old boy got hurt. They played Miami, and then he won a game against Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hey, Richard Rubin, it's Cowboys Beat. That's my channel name. If people are wondering, I got a few questions in there asking what my channel name is. It's Cowboys Beat.
Cowboys Beat. So.
Yeah, no, but like, I just feel like there's more things that this team needed to improve on last year to really make a playoff run, and I will continue to hammer this home. Talent is not the issue with the football team. It's not like when you look at, again, I'll continue to go back to that Green Bay game. There's no way you're telling me that team's more talented than Dallas. It's not the case. They were at home too. Like, to me, I think that Dak under Mike McCarthy in year 2 is going to be even better than he was his first year. I think that Mike McCarthy is going to look at this offense and, you know, part of me wanted Mike McCarthy gone, but there is part of me that says, okay, is Mike McCarthy going to be in the film room this offseason? And is he going to look at, okay, let's get Brandon Cooks more involved in this offense. Let's find a way to run the football more effectively. If you can do those two things, your offense is going to be better. And even with, you know, losing Tyron Smith and Tyler Biadasz. Even with losing those guys, like, if you can get Cooks more involved in this offense, if you can run the ball better, if you can do better work out of 12 personnel, which I think they'll do better work with their 12 and 13 personnel sets. They weren't really effective doing that last year, and that was such a staple for them in that 2022 season. And let me tell people this, right? John Stevens, if he can be as good as we think he can be, that's going to be a big asset for this team. Because if you have, like, I understand he's not going to provide much when it comes to blocking, right? But when you can play 12 personnel with a body type like that, now you're putting the defense in a bind. Okay, how do we deal with this? Do we put another defensive back on the field? Now they're lighter on defense. Or do we put, you know, a linebacker out there? Do we put an extra, like, linebacker out there? And then, you want to put a linebacker on John Stevens? I like that matchup.
Hello.
Put in a bind like that. So if they can run the ball more effectively, and that does not have to do with just the personnel, run scheme, blocking, if they can run the ball more effectively, if they can get Cooks more involved, and they can do better work out of 12 and 13 personnel, this offense will be better. And I think that with Mike Zimmer being on that defense, they will be a more disciplined defense, and the defense will be better, and the team overall will be better. I am not this guy that just says, like, oh, you lost a few people that people wanted gone in the first place. You're done. Like, no. What can we do from a coach's standpoint to make this team better? What are some things that we didn't do last season to make this team better? And if they do that, they'll be a better football team, even with the talent that they lost.
Man, it's gonna be great, man. I can't wait to see it, man. And hey, all we got to do is just sit back and wait now, man, and watch how these boys handle OTA. Well, not OTAs, but training camp now, mini camp, training camp, and seeing who will outperform who, you know. And I can't wait to see. It's just a situation, man, that I can't wait to see, bro. On competition.
Hey, man. Look, is there anything you want to touch on before we head out?
That's about it, man. Still researching, man. Still trying to compile some tapes together, man, so we can get out and I can have my strong opinion on guys, right? And I just can't wait, man. And the thing is the problem is we got to wait all the way through this process, through the preseason, through the regular season, and seeing what we're going to look like in the postseason. But I think that we will have a more temperature on this team if we can just do those two things. Run the ball when necessary and stop the run when necessary.
Absolutely, man. That's the perfect way to end this, my friend. And
Yeah.
hey, Law, you know it's always great to connect, bro. You know it's
man,
always
as
great
always.
to come on here. Hey, I'm gonna try and get something going with Okoye here pretty soon. Hopefully you can hop on, try and get foots on. We can do something like that, bro. It's been nothing
Most
but
certainly.
bangers every single time we get together, my guy.
Most certainly. And I think we had one super, is it Sir Made? Appreciate you so much for your support to help grow the nation. And without hesitations nor deviations, man, y'all do me a huge favor. Continue to hit the like, share this content, and let people know where to go when it's time to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and Beyond. Let's get it.
Hey, and I mean, look, if you're on my page and you don't know who Law is, I mean, what are you doing? You got to go subscribe to Law, man.
Come on with it. Come on with it. Yeah, let's go.
Oh man, hey,
Yeah.
great to connect, my friend. And hey, make sure to hit that like button on both of our channels. I'm over on Cowboys Beat, Law Nation. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button on both of our channels. And hey, until next time, we'll see you guys later.